What if distance just wasn't really a thing anymore? Imagine a way to travel so incredibly fast it could completely change how we live and work. Well, that's the big idea behind Hyperloop. But the question is this amazing vision actually the future, or is it just a super expensive pipe dream?
Think about that for a second. A trip that can take 6 hours, sometimes more, stuck in traffic, squished down to less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite show. This isn't just about speed, it's about rewriting the map. And that, right there, is the core promise of Hyperloop.
So how on earth is this even possible? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But the science behind it is actually pretty cool and surprisingly straightforward. It's all about beating the two big forces that slow everything down here on Earth.
Okay, so at its heart, the whole idea is pretty simple. You've got a pod, for people or for packages, and you stick it inside a tube. The real genius, though, is what they do to that tube and that pod to hit these unbelievable speeds.
The magic really boils down to a two-step trick to basically cheat physics. First up, you get rid of friction. The pod doesn't have wheels, it floats just above the track using magnetic levitation, kind of like a futuristic air hockey puck. Step 2, you get rid of air resistance. By pumping almost all the air out of the tube, you create a near vacuum, so there's practically nothing for the pod to push against.
And what happens when you get rid of friction and air resistance? You get just mind-blowing speed. We are talking theoretical top speeds of over 700 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that's faster than a commercial jetliner, but you're doing it on the ground. Incredible.
You know, when you can travel that fast, you're not just building a better train. You're actually talking about a massive shift for society. You're creating a world that's connected in a way we've never seen before.
And the potential upsides here are just huge. I mean, beyond the obvious benefit of ridiculously short travel times, it's an all-electric system. You could line the tubes with solar panels and power the whole thing. It would be a much greener way to travel. And just think, cities could be connected in ways that could create totally new economic centers. It changes everything about where we could live and work.
And this is what that promise looks like in the real world. This is the difference between hours of soul-crushing traffic and a quick, easy trip. This is that tangible, life-changing potential that has so many people so excited about this idea.
Okay, but for every incredible promise, there's a catch. And with Hyperloop, it's a huge one. The road from a brilliant idea on paper to a working network is filled with some of the biggest engineering and financial challenges you can imagine.
Let's just start with the money, because, wow, we are talking about $10 billion plus, and that's for just one route. Building thousands of miles of these perfectly engineered, vacuum-sealed tubes is just an astronomical expense before a single ticket is even sold.
And the problem isn't just one thing. It's like a battle on 4 different fronts. Economically, it's a massive gamble. Logistically, you need to find and buy thousands of miles of super straight, flat land, which is a legal and political nightmare. Technically, keeping a perfect vacuum over hundreds of miles of tube is a monumental challenge. And then there's the human side. Are people going to feel safe and comfortable rocketing through a windowless tube?
And that really gets to the heart of the safety problem. It's one thing to design for speed, but what if something goes wrong? A power outage, a pod gets stuck. Trying to handle an emergency in a sealed, low-pressure tube is a scenario we've never really had to plan for before.
So, you've got this amazing promise on one side and this mountain of problems on the other. Where does that leave Hyperloop today? Let's take a look at the journey so far and where this whole thing might actually be going.
The modern era for this really kicked off in 2013, when Elon Musk basically open-sourced the idea and sparked this global race. Then we had a huge moment in 2020 with the very first test with actual people on board. But more recently, the sheer difficulty of making this work for passengers has forced let's call it a major reality check.
And that's led to a really important shift in thinking. The big dream of whisking people between cities, it's facing a nearly impossible climb. So the most realistic first step for this technology isn't actually moving people at all. It's moving things. An ultra-fast cargo network gets around a lot of the trickiest safety and comfort issues that come with human passengers.
So, we're left with this really interesting situation. The grand vision of zipping people across countries seems further away than ever. But the core technology is finding a new and maybe more practical purpose. The revolution might still be coming, just maybe not in the way we first pictured it. Which leads to the final question, really. If they ever overcome all those hurdles, would you be first in line to ride one?